Well, hi folks, Andrew Bell here with you. And aren't we living in amazing times at present with so many elections across the planet that's creating greater divides in countries than ever before? And of course, they are so significant as they're changing the direction many countries are heading in. Here in Australia, we have got our Queensland election, state election coming up next month, and we're already in the start to the lead up to the federal election due by May of next year at the very latest, and many predicting to be earlier than that, probably March. At a time of great instability, we've got greater rumblings than ever. So the focus over the last week was of course on interest rates. We know they play a pivotal role in the economy, and the latest report on the economy is if it had not been for the federal government spending, we'd actually be in recession, which is why there is such a compelling argument for there to be an interest rate drop. Yet, the Reserve Bank remains focused on inflation. And Ms Bullock, the Reserve Bank Governor, said she remained concerned about the breadth of the inflationary pressures and warned that the progress on reducing inflation had slowed. The reality is that Australia has the highest level of inflation in the Western world. What we know is that we're trending down, but not nearly as fast as needed. And the Reserve Bank has made it clear that they're going to hold the line on higher interest rates until inflation is down, most probably between the midway mark between the 2 and 3%, which is the range they shoot for. Lots of speculation about when that will occur, and of course last week we also saw the latest inflation figures, which came in at 2.7%. Now the Reserve Bank places more weight on the trimmed inflation, which removes all the outlying volatile price measures. Now trimmed inflation also trickled down this month in the annual terms from 3.8 to 3.4. And part of the reason for the headline inflation dropping was there was a lot of government subsidies on electricity, which was starting to wash through the economy. But the Reserve Bank is aware that those subsidies will only be there for a certain time, and without them, headline inflation would be actually much higher, probably in the early 3% range. As such, I think we can rule out any interest rate rise that had been talked about in recent months, and that the Reserve Bank was threatening. Now the discussion is about when might we get an interest rate fall. Consensus amongst leading economists is that there is an outside chance of one interest rate drop before Christmas, but that's a small number who believe that now the reality is that the interest rate drop won't be till next year, with maybe 4 drops of 0.25% over the course of 2025. That's one every quarter, starting around February or March. Now take note that generally there is never an interest rate movement during a federal election campaign. So we'll have to watch how that plays out, with that probably happening somewhere in March, April, May. Now, an interesting report out on the real estate market showed that profits from home sales nationwide are climbing to a record high of 285,000 on average. That was a report out in the June quarter. And that was buoyed by broad lifting of prices, which saw prices hit fresh peaks each month since November last year. Now that's according to CoreLogic. No surprise, after 4 years of incredible price growth, the 94.5% of sales saw profits at their highest levels in more than a decade. Now houses on average saw their best ever profits of 340,000 and apartments 185. But of course that's because houses are of a higher value than units, and so price growth is somewhat proportionate. Now we all know that the market goes in cycles. In fact, the economy, which drives markets, goes in cycles as well. And so that cycle pretty much is a number of years of price growth, followed by a period of price correction, followed by a period of somewhat flat lining before the cycle starts again. It's why many who are familiar with the real estate cycles are choosing now to sell their properties to lock in all of the price gains that have been made over the past 4 years. It's made so many Australians mighty wealthy, but it's also on paper. It's not until you sell the property that you actually realise the financial benefits. We're also seeing some people having, well, perhaps being forced to sell because of the heavy toll of high interest rates and what that's affected their personal finances. But for so many others, it's simply a reason to make hay while the sun shines and lock in those rises in capital values and lock in the benefits of the past 4 years. Now, we've had 2 amazing in-room auctions in a row. I reported recently, in the last report, about the incredible results of our 5th of September auctions, and then we had another lot last week. Now that meant we had 53 auctions for the month with an 85% success rate. Now these are the best results anywhere in Queensland, and likewise I haven't seen better figures recorded anywhere around Australia for in-room auctions. And so I'm very proud of our team, and we're certainly setting the pace on a national scale. Now, it's of no surprise that we're also getting early bookings from people wanting to be part of the greatest real estate promotion held anywhere in Australia each year, and that's our big event program in January. Now, take note that there are limited numbers that we can accept to be part of this program, so early bookings are essential, and I've got details on screen now so you know how to get the information about the event. Well, with only 12 weeks to go into Christmas and 9 weeks until the beginning of December, it reminds us that we're on the slippery slide that goes so fast to close out the year. As we break into the new year and get through our summer holiday season of January, there'll only be a couple of weeks left before we're getting into the election. It'll be a fascinating but turbulent year ahead, and undoubtedly it's why so many of our sellers are choosing to capitalise on the current market and indeed our January event to lock in those huge capital gains I talked about a little while ago. I'll be back with you in a fortnight's time. Look forward to being with you.